All right. So welcome to our very first Pykthos Strategy Café with the accent on the E. Proper French.
Cafe.
Café. So welcome to Pykthos Café. And the whole point here is just to answer questions as best we can. The overwhelming starting point should be because we did get some emails already like, well, what if I need more confidence in my hypnosis skills or whatever. That's not the intention here. This is a business focused conversation. So the presupposition should be you're already skilled at helping people. You know that you can help people. So how can you get more clients, make more money in doing what you're doing, as opposed to how do you get confident enough to eventually charge for your services? Just like a kitchen cabinet maker needs to know how to make cabinets before he can go start a business. The presupposition is you guys are all here because you already know how to help people, and it's more the business stuff that we're here to talk about. So just if you do ask questions about hypnosis training, stuff like that, we're not going to be tackling those in this call. All right, Timothy, any other opening remarks you want to make?
Yeah. So I would love to hear from all of you. Where are you guys at? So just in the chat, just tell us, location, province, state, country, whatnot. I see some people have already started doing that, like
Yeah, and maybe
British
top
Columbia.
topics. Yeah,
Yeah.
things you'd like to hear expanded upon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then if you have a specific, like Chris said, if you have a thing that you would like to talk with other people about, maybe in a breakout room, just start putting that in the chat too. And then I'll be filtering through, and then the top three things that I see, I'll just make some breakout rooms and you guys can filter in there if you want to go
Awesome.
co-work. Otherwise, now would be the best time to raise your hand, just like Jacqueline did. And yeah, she's first, and we'll get you in the queue and we'll answer your questions.
Yeah, so Jackie, go ahead and unmute, and then for everyone else, yeah, throw us some comments about what you're struggling with, or just what you need to know more about. What's got you stuck between wherever you are now and where you want to be? What's the stumbling blocks that we can help you break them down? Jackie.
So excited to have seen that you guys were doing this because I'm in the midst of doing some changeover stuff, and this could not have come at a better time. So, to wrap it up very, very quickly, I'd like to know when to incorporate, if that's what it is. Like, I'm in Canada, Chris, so this
Hmm.
is going to be really towards you in terms of
Oh, sure.
Ontario.
Yeah.
When to start copywriting, when to start trademarking IP, when to recognize that I've got Open Mind Hypnosis. Now I've got the Mind Shift Academy, and I've also got the Jacqueline Young group. So I know,
Hmm.
Timothy, you talked a little bit about how to diversify and when to kind of figure all that stuff out. The website issue is not a problem. It's more the legal stuff that I'm really trying to figure out. Where do I move next to make sure that I don't make a misstep that's going to be quite costly?
Okay, so just start really quick on the legalities of or the whole setting up a corporation, and then Timothy might be able to chime in for those of you in the States or elsewhere around LLCs because doesn't have that structure. It's pretty low cost to set up a corporation in Canada. I know I've done it in Ontario more than once, and I think I paid like 1,200 bucks when I first set up my original corporation, and maybe a little bit more than that. These days, you can do it yourself or you can hire a lawyer. I just hired a lawyer to do it because it's just way easier. And I guess if you're at the point where you're saying, "Hey, I'm serious at this," put it this way: if you were buying software for your business or joining something like the Pykthos Mastermind, which is going to cost you sort of a couple of $1,000 a year, or if you have legit expenses in your business and you know you're serious about doing it, you may as well just set up a corporation right off the bat and get it done right. And then you probably, unless you want to be an accountant yourself, probably find an accounting company to do your books for you. You can save a lot of money by sending them a lot of the transactional stuff so that they just file, the all the returns and stuff that you need. You don't have to do all that, but you can make it easy for them by doing the behind the scenes bookkeeping. So that's where I would go. Just set it up as a corporation right off the bat as soon as you know you're really going to do it. And I think the same applies in the States. It makes sense, right, Timothy, to just get an LLC going right away because you're going to need a lot of that data anyway just to be able to text clients. You need to be able to set up application two-person A2P verification for phone numbers and stuff like that. You need an EIN.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Regardless of wherever you live, I would highly, highly, highly suggest to everybody you set the business up properly. In the United States, for example, you can do something called a sole proprietorship,
Hmm.
meaning that you don't set up anything and you just use your own personal tax or social security number to be the thing to run your business. The problem with doing that, at least in the States, is sole proprietors are one of the highest taxed individuals, companies in the entire nation. So as soon as you add an LLC, that extra layer of not only legal protection, but also tax protection, it lowers your tax bracket. What doing that also allows you to do is it allows you to start building the brand or the business with assets. Because as a sole proprietor, for example, it would be really hard for me to establish, for example, a trademark or a registered trademark because it's just me, the individual, right? So
Hmm.
as soon as I set up the LLC, I was able to get a trademark for my product into the loop. Now, what that does, though, is it does a couple of things. One, if I had that trademark just as me, there'd be more paperwork I'd have to do if I ever decided to sell the entity. Like if I wanted to sell Enter the Loop, I couldn't without the LLC. Having the trademark and the business now gives the
Hmm.
business an asset, meaning that when I go to sell it, it has some licensing, it has stuff
Hmm. Hmm.
that moves the needle for somebody looking to buy it. It's not just the idea or the concept. Now you're actually getting the backed up registered license of the concept, if that makes sense. So always, always, always put a layer of protection between you and your customer, meaning set up a business, have it established, because the last thing anybody would want is you're working with a client and something goes off the rails and the client says that you're the reason why now that they can't stop touching doorknobs or
Hmm.
something, and they sue you, right, for
Yeah.
malpractice. Even though it's rare, but it still happens, especially in the United States where it's the land of legality, right? So when you set up that extra layer of protection, if somebody tries to sue you, they can't go after your personal assets. If I was just a sole proprietor, though, oh man, they could come after my house, my car, my kids, not my kids, but so, buy my kids. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That's the other reason. Exactly. Legality. Keep things clean. You can write more stuff off and you can separate liability between you personally and your corporation or your LLC or whatever. So
Yeah. And then, so
hopefully that
Joy
helps.
actually, she added in, well, that's really interesting. How difficult is it to transition from a sole proprietor to an LLC? Pretty easy. Uh,
You've done it, eh?
Yeah, I've done it several times. I legally own two businesses, so I've done this now multiple times. Even moved states, changed the business over. It's pretty simple. In the state of New York, you just go to the state website, register your LLC. You have to, get an EIN then with the IRS. That's separate. And then as long as you've got that set up, then you're golden. Depending on your state, you might have to do other things. In the state of Virginia, I was able to register my LLC and get my LLC in an hour. State of New York is way different. It takes weeks because you have to jump through a whole bunch of red tape, bureaucratic stuff, right? Wherever you're at, there are like people who are really smart, much smarter than me, much smarter than Chris, and they're lawyers. I paid $1,000 to get my company set up, everything set up in the state of New York. So for you, I don't know where you are at, but yeah, I would go through a
Mhm.
legal entity. You can go through a lawyer. You could also go through an accountant. Most people don't know that, but here in the United States, accountants are also able to set up businesses for you because in the United States, you have to have something called a registered agent. And that means that it is a place where they can send legal documents like your EIN and anything else. And
Mhm.
lawyers, specifically business lawyers, and accountants are two people who can be registered agents
Oh, that's
besides
good.
yourself.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Okay, so there's legal stuff. All right.
wonderful.
Boring, but kind of
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Can I just ask a follow-up question though, in terms, and I'm coming to you, Timothy, with this because I know you've done it. Chris, I don't know if you have or not, and I'm in Canada. So did you work at the Ontario level or the Canadian level? That's question number one. And number two, if you have like an oversight umbrella name, then do you register everything that you've done?
Mm.
okay, I'll just tell you quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on that stuff because I really think you should seek the advice of a lawyer for your specific
Okay.
situation.
Yep.
What I did is I set up an Ontario corporation, and then later I set up a holding company, but only because I just wanted to structure, um, what's the best way to put it? I wasn't paying myself as a salary all of the corporation's profits left over, so I'm leaving them in a holding company, and that legally separates them. But they're both Ontario corporations in my case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Sorry.
even
Thank you.
here, yeah, even here in the States, I would just make sure that if if there's ever anything that you're selling to anybody, put one layer of protection in between that. I would never, ever, ever put all of my eggs into one basket either, meaning I wouldn't just have one company that runs
Hmm.
everything. I have
Okay.
separate entities. So if I'm doing private work, separate entity. If I'm selling a product,
Hmm.
separate entity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in
And that,
Canada, you might best structure that as a holding company. But
yeah.
talk to you
Okay.
later.
Talk to
All
you
right.
later.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Jacqueline. All right. Hello, Sandra. Hello, hello.
Hi everyone. It's really lovely to be here. And my question is about my niche.
Mhm.
So I am currently practicing hypnotherapy and I've been trying to work out in which direction to go. And earlier this year I was very much about trying to help teenagers because I live in Hong Kong and there's, academic stress and things like that. And
Hmm.
but I was a teacher for 30 years, so there was primary teacher, but I wanted to, it felt like a really good place to place myself, having teaching experience, but just going a little bit older. And then I felt I could help. But it's been, you know, putting stuff on the way I've been marketing, it's just like tumbleweed, there's a void. I don't know, I'm not getting any traction. So a mother did contact me actually about her teenage son recently. And we had a chat, and then he wasn't interested in taking hypnotherapy further at this moment. But I did say, well, maybe at some point she would like a session, and she did. So I'm working on her to do with her being triggered by her son. And that's going quite well at the minute, actually. And I'm suddenly thinking, actually, that feels really good. So I'm thinking, okay, is that a good niche? But when I before I don't want to sort of suddenly create all this marketing stuff again that's because I want it to be reflected in my LinkedIn page as well as maybe my Instagram stuff. And then I'm thinking, but shall I narrow it down to parents who are, triggered by their kids? But when ultimately I know there's so many other people I can serve at the same time. So I'm a little bit lost about where to put my focus because
Okay.
I would like to help parents being triggered by their kids, but I'd also like to help anybody who wants to, fear of public speaking. Great, come and see me,
Okay.
anxiety,
Let
whatever
me
it is.
stop
So
you right
I
there.
just
Let me
need a
stop you
little bit
right
of
there, Sandra. I
direction.
think we have enough to be able to talk about it. So I want to
Thank
just
you.
make sure that
Sorry.
we're keeping things tight.
Sorry. Thank you.
No problem at all. So I get it. You're starting to serve one particular area, but you also don't want to miss out on all these other areas that you could possibly
Yes.
serve people, and you're not yet necessarily getting traction yet.
Yes.
So a couple of things you need to keep in mind. First of all, it's a really important idea to definitely hone in on that one ideal customer avatar. Now, in your case, if you're, let's say you're helping kids, it's a bit more complex because they're not the actual buyer. It's usually going to be the parent or somebody else. So you want to be marketing and speaking to the parent, the person who's going to become aware of you. You basically have to engineer a situation where people are going from stranger, they don't even know you exist, through to they're your customer. And that customer journey, I put a link in the chat for Lee in response to Lee Kessler's question with a video that's on our YouTube channel. It's a presentation I gave at Hypnothoughts Live a couple of years ago about the customer journey. So I encourage you guys to watch that one. I'll drop it in as well. So it's not a reply, it's just in the chat. But if you know who you're serving and you understand how you can take them on that journey, that's the starting point. So I kind of can't
Mhm.
give you the specifics until you outline what does your perfect client look like, how old are they, what age is their kid, what's the problem their kid has, and then you can start speaking to that audience and giving them the one next step to enter into your world. Like, do you want to have a discovery call with me, et cetera? And Timothy has a brilliant program on how to run discovery calls. The the next logical thing to do, though, is not worry too much about the details of the niche yet. Think of it this way. You can always narrow it down more later, or you can always get a little bit more broad later. I'd probably prefer to start a little too broad and then start narrowing it over time. Now, when you do that and you worry, well, won't I miss out on people who have other problems that don't fit that specific niche? Yes and no. Yes, you probably will in the beginning, but as you succeed, and pretty much anyone here, in fact, I'm looking at Catherine Toohey on my screen right now. Catherine, you specialize in helping a lot of, well, at least at one point in time, I know maybe you could chime in the chat or just unmute. You worked with a lot of kids that were sent by parents or by teachers, etc. But I'm
Yeah,
betting that is not the only kind of client that you work with because people will refer. So
yeah,
Ken Gutso, Ken Gutso is another great example. He did a lot of smoking cessation stuff and worked essentially 100% by referral, but not all of his clients were for a smoking cessation because people will hear about a success. They will trust, you work with somebody named Sam and Sam speaks to his buddy Bob and Bob hears, "Oh, Sam was able to accomplish this result." He trusts Sam. Bob trusts Sam. So he goes, "Hey, well, if Sandra can do that for Sam, I wonder if he can do this other thing for me." And then he'll reach out. Does that help?
Mm. So I think what you're saying is basically pick a customer, advertise to that customer, and then but I know that at some point I will get other people
Yeah.
for other reasons too.
Yeah, the fundamental starting point is just decide who you want to be talking to
Okay.
and then put out messaging that will resonate with that audience. Watch the video that I'll just drop the link if
Yeah.
someone hasn't already done it about the customer value journey because everyone who's just starting out or even if you're doing this somewhat successfully now if you want to grow, you've got to figure out how, my friend Ryan Dice likes to say, how do you turn a stranger into a buyer? And it's
Mm.
not, we joke about this all the time. It's not the first date metaphorically to a romantic relationship where you say, "Hey, what are we going to name our kids?" Because that's creepy. So you've got to design something that takes people step by step from knowing you exist,
Mm.
engaging with your content, sharing contact information, and then getting excited about what you can offer them, and then taking the next step, ascending them towards being a customer. Timothy, do you have anything you
Great.
want to chime in on that?
No, I think you covered, pretty much all of it. I
Okay.
mean, at the end of the day, Sandra, it's really who you want to serve, right? One of the first things that Chris and I teach inside the Pykthos Mastermind, we have something that we call the Pykthos Growth System, and that's like a template in the process on how you can go from, I had nothing to now I'm actually getting clients. And the first two parts of that are all about figuring out your own personal why. So in this case, like you were a teacher and maybe you do have this internal drive to want to help these people, but it's difficult to market to them because like they're teenagers, they're kids. How are they going to pay you what you really deserve to be paid? And at this point, Chris, yeah, astutely said, you need to talk to the parents, which you do. So really then you have to figure out where the parents at. And for everybody, your audience deciding on your niche, it really comes down to who exactly is in that niche. Like I think
Mm.
we all hear that word and we think it's like this giant pedestal that it's we have to talk to this one person and like how do I find like and all of this. But really at the end of the day, they're just humans. They're just people. So who do you really like working with? Who do you really like helping? And where are those people at? Right? And then at that point, like I would just start to cater all of your messaging, all of your social content, and whatnot to those people. And the way that you can do that is not so much, my name's Sandra and like buy my stuff. That's not going to help. That's why Chris
Yeah.
suggested what we call, what we learned is called the customer value journey, which we got from Ryan Dice. And that is just the journey that strangers take until they eventually buy from you. So as
Mm.
long as your content matches where they're at in that journey with you, then they will eventually buy. So for people who are absolute strangers, they probably aren't going to do a discovery call or buy your sessions up front. But what they will
Mhm.
buy, Sandra, is maybe like top three tips on how to
Mm.
remember stuff when they're studying, best ways to lower anxiety before a test. So if you can start to think of these kind of little tools and hypnotic things that would help the student, you can still give those to the teacher or to the parents and say, hey, give this to your kids. Let me know what you think.
Mm.
Right. So it's
Yeah,
all
like
about who
those
you're
kind of
talking to
things.
and how you're going to talk to them.
Sure.
I want to hear, I did invite Catherine to unmute and talk and chime in just on the whole referral thing. I'd like to hear a bit more from her on that. And meanwhile, Sandra, if you would be able to put in the chat any links to your public facing stuff like social media channels, wherever you're investing time. So whatever you're thinking, okay, this isn't working. We'd love to take a look at it and we can click some links
Sure.
in the chat and then come back
Cool.
and give you some more comments, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or a
Yeah.
website or wherever you're sending people. That's what I'd love
Yeah.
to see in the
Okay.
chat.
Thank you.
Catherine,
Thank
what do
you.
you got to say about the whole referral thing?
hello. Um, well, I set up a teen exam stress workshop earlier this year, kind of looked at when the main exam period was and set this workshop up. And I was advertising it to parents, but also to teachers. So that is something that you could consider doing.
Yes.
Um, I enjoy working with kids, but it is probably the most challenging thing because parent is the client. And
Yeah.
so what I learned a couple of years back was I always now do a session with a parent as well. So it's kind of a program, like a family approach.
Brilliant. Yeah, so that way you actually are adding even more value and you can charge a more appropriate fee as a result of that. So you work with
Yeah,
the parent and you work with the kids. And of course, you can get the teachers on side because we already know that teachers will express their opinions to the parents. So if you give them something that they can recommend, which is, hey, you should check out what Sandra's offering here, that would be a really good alignment.
especially if you're an ex-teacher, Sandra, you'll know how to
Mhm.
talk to them. And as well, if you think about the kinds of kids that you want to help. So I have a background in performance, so I market to a lot of private dance schools, and
Mhm.
because often it's those children who are, really busy in their extracurricular activities that get themselves stressed about exams. That was
Yeah.
my niche, but I hope that's helpful.
That is.
You all
I
very
can totally
much.
relate to that, Catherine, because I know when my kids were both in competitive dance, there were a lot of reports where, some girls, it was mostly girls in dance, and they would be so nervous. They'd be, vomiting before being out doing competitive routine or whatever. Like there's just so much stress with high performance sports.
Yeah, and those kind of kids tend to put themselves under a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
perfectionistic tendencies, those types of
Yeah.
things.
Awesome. Thank you so much for chiming in on that.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Catherine. All right. Hopefully that helped you, Sandra. And then if you have any other questions at all, you can always raise your hand again at some point. But let's go
Yeah.
to Stacy.
And I dropped the link in the chat as promised for the YouTube video that we recorded at Hypnothoughts. So, Stacy, how are you?
Morning. I'm great, thank you. I would love to hear more about like the platform, like what the platform does. Like, does it
Oh,
does it create your website? Do you create your website? Can you port in a website? Like, what does it like? Is it all the funnels and all the stuff, sort of like the HypnoBiz in a box, I guess?
yeah. Maybe how can we answer this cleanly without sounding like we're promoting ourselves?
I mean, we
Promote
can
yourselves, but
we can promote ourselves. I
Yeah.
mean, so the Pykthos,
Without turning into a commercial, I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
what
yeah,
I meant to say.
yeah.
The short answer, and then I'll give Timothy the microphone for as much as he wants to add. It's Pykthos white labels the high level platform, which we make no secrets about. So you can do anything. And then, of course, we run a mastermind, which includes the platform. So the mastermind is kind of like this format where we do a lot of coaching and a lot of helping you guys understand the frameworks and the processes. And we all use the same platform. Therefore, we can all build stuff. There's a lot of people using the platform. Everything from your CRM to your order forms to your email automations to your text messaging to your courses to your communities, your funnels, your website. We can give you templates, and we can, of course, in the mastermind help you build templates because we have full-time design staff, etc. So that's the benefit, is like rather than just going outside getting your own, I don't know, let's say Active Campaign or MailChimp or all these other sort of standalone tools that you got to duct tape together, we bring them all to you under the umbrella of a mastermind and show you how to use them and teach you how to use them and even help you use them in many cases. But we don't do the work for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the big thing you have to realize is there are a lot of companies out there who kind of offer the platform, regardless of whatever the name that they're using. The high level platform, which is the Pykthos platform, is probably one of, if not the best in class when it comes to everything you need to run your business. Almost to the point where everything that's offered in the platform can be overwhelming for a lot of people. The analogy that I absolutely love that Chris uses quite often is nobody gets overwhelmed when you go to the grocery store. You don't feel like you have to buy everything there, even though it is, right? And
I love
so,
that.
as long as you know what you're looking for, the platform offers it in some way, shape, or form. Now, anybody can go, like Chris said, anybody can go out and get their own, high level account or whatnot, or you can use one of, the other competitors that are out there. The difference though is if you do that, you're kind of going to be on your own. That's why we framed the mastermind as the thing that you're buying, because really nobody likes doing business alone. It sucks. I did it for years. Chris did it for years. It sucks. It really does. It is so much more fun when you're in a group, not just a group setting, but you're in a group holistically that can all
Hmm.
jive off of each other. I can't tell you, like just last week. So this strategy cafe is every 2 weeks. And in between that, we do what's called casual co-working. It's an implementation day. People show up on the Fridays at 11 and we all co-work together. And we'll answer questions and we'll banter. There's wonderful discussion. And there are wicked smart people in this room. Like probably people as smart or smarter than Chris and I. Everyone has their own zone of genius. Like Liesel,
Yeah.
can you just like wave real quick? Liesel? So Liesel's in South Africa and she is a book editor, been doing it professionally for years and years and years, wicked smart at that stuff.
Hmm.
I came to her for advice. And then you have people like, gosh, where is he? I just saw, actually, like Kate McDowell. Can you wave your hand? Yeah. Yeah. So Kate and Amanda, they run a health business. Wicked smart people. Like I've learned
Action
stuff from
takers
them.
too.
Yeah, and
Action
they're
takers.
action
Yeah.
takers. And so you're not buying the platform. Get that out of your head. The
Hmm.
platform comes included when you join the mastermind, and you're getting in the room with people who wish that they could be in the room with people smarter than them learning stuff. That's why Chris and I attend our own masterminds and we bring those learnings back to our mastermind people because we have to always be one step ahead, and all of you need to be one step ahead. You need to know what's working now,
Yeah.
and so being in the mastermind is the best way to know what's working now and how to get that leverage to put yourself in front of more people, get more clients, and run your business better. So if you
Yeah.
if you just want the platform, cool, but you're not going to get us, you're not going to get
Most
this.
people, yeah, most people will not be successful only just by signing up for some tool and then sort
Yeah.
of because building a business, you guys all know this, right? Hopefully that's why you're here. You can get really good at the helping people part of it, just like somebody can get really good at cutting men's hair or threading what's the darn thing that they do, eyebrows, like all the beauty businesses type of stuff, or building cabinets in a kitchen. You get really darn good at that, but it's a different skill set to start a business and get clients because you have to do sales, marketing, you have to run operations, understand administrative stuff, all these things. And the software is only one piece of it. So if you don't have somebody there holding you by the hand, kind of coaching you through what you should be doing and what you should be focusing on, all aligned towards the same processes, then it just gets harder. So we set up a system where it's actually way more affordable to do it the way we suggest. That's our quick answer. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does a lot. Thank you very
You're
much.
Yeah,
very
yeah,
welcome.
yeah. Yeah. And also to just really briefly to directly answer your question, Stacey, about like websites and stuff, we have our own templates that we've built that
Hmm.
our guy has went out and searched like the best in class websites. We've rebuilt our own version. So you have thousands of templates that you have access to, ones that we've built, ones that are provided by the platform itself. We also have templates not just for websites, but also for funnels, social media content,
Ooh,
emails, surveys, quizzes. Like there's templates out there. And if you use the AI tools that are built into the platform, you could have AI start helping you build your website, your workflows, and helping you make your copy and all that kind of stuff. So the tools are there to help you learn how to
mhm.
like use it and get you there faster. If that.
That's a huge tip for you guys. No matter what you're doing, leverage AI tools. We can spend lots of time talking about that in this call, future calls, etc. It's such a huge topic. AI will help accelerate, but not take over all your work. It's just makes your life easier. By the way, any Pykthos members here would like to drop a link to their own assets, whether it be a discovery call funnel, a website page that you're proud of. Put the links in, show them off, and that way people can look at them.
All
What
right.
else we got?
Yes, Lee. Hello, hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Um, so when I started a hypnotherapy journey many years ago, like 15 plus years ago, and I'm just getting back into it. So obviously the technology has changed, but when I originally started, uh, everything was done face to face with the client.
Hmm.
There was no such thing as a Zoom call. There was
Yeah.
no online, period. Didn't exist.
Yeah.
So it was all about, networking and word of mouth and that sort of thing to get a client. Um, so what I'm assuming now is that everything is done online, and what my mind is trying to absorb at this point is working with a client who's not in front of me physically, um, and how the process works. How effective is it over Zoom?
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there
Okay.
just because we might be slipping into how to do hypnotherapy kind of discussion, which isn't the point of these calls. This is more strategy around the business. That said, I'm not going to ignore the question, nor will Timothy.
Yeah.
You can absolutely do all of this kind of change work very effectively online. Everyone here who's doing it, feel free to drop your comments around what you're noticing. But fundamentally, you can absolutely do this stuff on Zoom. Works very well. Generally speaking, you just need to give them correct instructions so that they understand how to use Zoom, how they can be visible to you, at least, let's say torso, so that you can see their hands moving, their eyes closed, their breathing, all the usual calibration skills. But here's what I just want to mention. If you're doing business in person, and there's still plenty of you, put your hand up, guys, if you're still seeing in-person clients. Many of you are doing a hybrid approach. It's easier to market in your local area because in person, obviously, now there's the world is not competing with you. Only local people are competing with you. You can outcompete them by using a lot of these same principles. Whereas, let's say you're like Dan Candell. How many of you guys know him? He's the anti-anxiety guy or the anxiety guy, anxiety reduction guy, whatever he's marketing himself as now. I apologize, Dan. I'm sorry. It's an online thing. You're competing with everyone else in the whole world who might offer that same solution. So it's probably easier to market in person. Now, you do restrict your audience, but if you live in a big enough city, there's plenty of fish in that pond and you can fish from, and you can still do in-person stuff while still putting stuff outline and attracting online clients as well, creating online programs. You can even create online workshops that suit the nature of your local clients who just don't want to always get out of their pajamas and drive to a physical location. Or maybe you only have an office that's suitable for like one client at a time, or maybe a parent and a child in a session together, but you don't have a space to run a workshop. So you can run your local workshops on Zoom. So think about online as an extension, not necessarily a pure replacement for what you can do in person.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and when you are ready to make that transition, Lee, like absolutely having something like Pykthos
Hmm.
is the thing to do it, because the last thing that I think anybody would want to have to go through is how do I even go about not just getting those clients, but also working with them in a way that feels professional still, even though they might be around the world, right? And so that's where automation, email reminders, follow up, that kind of stuff all comes into play, which the platform
Right.
and the
Right.
knowledge of the mastermind can help.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah, definitely. No, I definitely could see the value of Pykthos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you,
Thank you.
Lee. Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.
I
Uh,
appreciate everyone dropping links and screenshots in the chat as well. Yeah, people are just discovering that, I mean, essentially the platform we're using has everything, which is why we love it so much.
yeah, yeah.
But
So I do see
yeah.
Chuck has his hand up. I don't know if he's trying to like just chime in really quick.
Oh,
And
physical
then
hand. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And then
you,
we
you got
have
to learn how to
Maria
use that React
and
button, and
Bruce.
then
So yeah,
there's
Chuck,
hand raise.
yeah, Chuck, unmute yourself and
Go
then
ahead.
go ahead.
All right, I think I'm unmuted. How's that? Is that
You
good?
are
Yep.
loud and clear.
Outstanding. All right, so here's my issue. Techno troglodyte. I
Mm,
have zero problems finding meetings, snatching up people, doing the client customer value journey, blah, blah, blah.
mhm,
I got into you guys years ago when I started doing hypno stuff, and it was
Mhm.
just kind of for fun, and then stayed with that. But my current businesses are something totally different, and y'all are in the UK, so it's going to be probably out of the realm of what most people fathom is firearms. And my teaching because I teach SWAT teams, civilians, military, law enforcement, et cetera, et cetera. My wife is making me retire. so, so we call that transferring to a different area. And with the Pykthos process, I would like that to transition to more of an online kind of course, hybrid, if you will, to do most of the teaching aspect and then still go to, we'll say, live fire gun range and do the physical aspect because you're
Oh,
not just
perfect. Okay.
so that's my thought process. And what, being the techno troglodyte that I am, big hammer, not surgical stuff, I am having issues setting up the funnel portion of it. I like everything that it has. It looks like it does all the cool
Hmm.
guy stuff that I need to do. I've downloaded a lot of the contacts that I've had. It's setting up the funnel issue, I guess, and then getting that started. I have a lot of classes that I teach. I have two different YouTube channels, so on and so
Hmm.
forth, and
Okay.
so there's a lot of stuff that I can draw from. So that's where I'm at, and I've incorporated a web mistress, if you will, to help me negotiate some of the language because it's like I'm Yiddish or Mandarin Chinese when I look at anything that has to do with computer stuff.
Yeah, imagine people who are learning, firearm safety or how to shoot for the first time. They're probably wondering the same thing. So, yeah, you have to learn to speak their language a bit. They need to speak yours. If you're already using the Pykthos system, what I would recommend you do is put a really detailed post in our community about exactly what you want to have happen, what you've already done, where your struggles are, so we can look at it and help you. And then we could even get you on a hot seat on our Wednesday calls, for example. You can show us, we can deconstruct every little bit of it and help you get moving.
Okay.
Because it's, obviously in this kind of format, I don't know exactly where you're stuck, or I imagine Timothy doesn't know either. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It's all of the above. I'm spinning my wheels. Like I said, I'm
Mhm.
mucking through this one thing at a time and hitting it with a big hammer and see what falls off
Yeah.
to what is effective.
Mhm.
And some of my email stuff transported my website to Pykthos,
Hmm.
and now I'm not getting any response from it. I've got the one of my friends is actually putting a new website in Pykthos to mirror that back to my other website, and it's
Okay.
trinityforceprotection.com.
Okay.
Um,
Can you drop that link in the chat? That way we can,
sure.
if I don't have a chance to look at it or Timothy doesn't right now, we'll get the chat archived. So we'll be
Yeah.
able to dive into that after. And then
Yep.
maybe what we can do
It-
is give you some
some
solid
some
one-on-one advice within the Pictos community.
That'd be
Yeah,
fucking
yep.
awesome.
Yeah, and also Chuck, if you show up on the Wednesdays, 3 p.m., like Chris said, we could do a hot seat. And for all of
Yeah,
you inside the mastermind,
we'd
this
love
is
that.
where you actually get Chris and I's undivided attention. So you get to join the hot seat. You literally share your website, you share all your stuff, and we walk you through stuff and we coach you on how to get better. I don't think she's here. Helen Buttigieg, she had the last time that we talked with her, she
Oh,
was
the lead
struggling.
magnet
Yeah, she was
discussion.
struggling
Yeah.
with a lead magnet issue, and she was like, "Oh, I think it's this. I think it's this. It might be the name." So I've been brainstorming these names. Come to find out, when we dove into her stuff,
Nothing to
the
do with the name.
nothing to do with the name. In fact, it was
Yeah.
how she was promoting it, the image, like where she was putting the link, etc. We
Hmm.
changed that, and in 1 week, she got 9 signups from zero, and she'd been struggling with it for a while. So
Hmm.
imagine now that's amplified to a month, a year. Those nine now, multiply. So
Yeah.
if we can help you instead of using the big hammer, Chuck, and it's more like a jeweler's hammer, where maybe it's just this one thing that needs a light tap.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
the
Timothy, sorry, go ahead, Chuck, and then I'll chime in
the
after that.
the issue that I recently ran into was the do not disturb. So when
Oh
I'm
yeah.
putting my contacts in,
Mhm.
it and I wanted to shoot them a test email or whatever.
Mhm.
It's like DTN, do not disturb, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And I found out that I was marking one of the things on the deal, and it canceled everything for me. And I'm
Ah,
like,
okay. Okay, got you. So you were somehow, for everyone else curious what that means, do not disturb is the Pictos system version of unsubscribe. Whenever you're sending out third-party emails, which are basically like if you write an email from your phone or your computer to one person, there's no problem. You can do whatever you want. But if you're using a third-party system like a MailChimp or Kajabi or Pictos or ActiveCampaign, whatever, one of those systems that sends out emails to more than one person at a time, like the ones you got to join this, by law, you must have an unsubscribe link. at the bottom of it. And so there's always going to be one. Now, when someone clicks that link, and they will, that's fine. You don't want to send emails to people who don't want them, believe me. They click that unsubscribe, it marks them in the system as usually unsubscribed on classic systems. In our system, it's called do not disturb. And you get multiple channels, so they can be DND on email or DND on SMS or DND on everything. And if they click unsubscribe, it's going to unsubscribe them from your email list. You can always re-add them if they say, hey, I would like to be re-added. You have permission. But these are there to protect you from lawsuits. That's why every major system has an unsubscribe link with every bulk email that you send out. So love that. Start getting in the framework that if someone clicks that link, they have saved you the trouble of being reported as spam, which you don't want to have happen. You'd just rather them let you know, I don't want emails from you anymore, sir. Okay, no problem. We'll stop sending them. And you don't have to think about it the next time you try to send an email to that person because they're in your list. It just won't go to that person. So Chuck probably did something to accidentally trigger that, is my guess. We'll look into it and help you out with that. What I wanted to do, though, is just chime in because you were talking about, Timothy, you were making a point about business metrics and opt-ins and stuff. So I like to take people's specific questions and, when possible, chunk them up to what value can we give everybody listening here. And here's the quick value. Make sure that if you're doing something in your business, that you have a sense of what you want the result to be and a way to compare your actual results against your target. I mean, we all know from things like NLP, the idea of know what you want, go after it, notice the results you're getting and adjust your results until you get to where you want to be. If you're trying to sail a ship across a river or ocean or lake, you got to point to your destination, notice when you're off, adjust your steering mechanism of whatever it is that they call it on the ship these days, and you eventually get there. So you have to have a process to measure basic stuff. And we always recommend, and we do it ourselves, that there's a simple scorecard and we capture data, a few data points. I don't know, maybe it's like a couple of dozen inside of Pykthos. We do it in Mike Mandel hypnosis, etc. So every Monday, I just gather, and I do it myself, 10 minutes worth of data capturing. So I have a snapshot of what's going well, what's not going well. And if you're pitching a lead magnet or discovery call or something like that, and you're not sure what you should even be measuring, nor are you measuring anything, you don't need to get like crazy and pull out big spreadsheets and calculators. But you have to have a few things that are really like, well, I know if I'm giving away a lead magnet, like a free audio recording or something, people have to at least visit the page where I'm offering it. Is anyone landing on that page? If you don't have a process of checking that, how are you going to ever know what's working in your business? So we want to be able to solve those kinds of problems. So just think about that. If you're here and you're going, yeah, that resonates, just think, what is the one major sort of funnel that I have? And I funnel, you can call it whatever you like. Let's say you're trying to sell one-on-one sessions. And in order to sell the one-on-one sessions, you back up from that and people book a discovery call with you. So they meet on Zoom and you explain to them the process of working together. And then back up from that, they have to actually sign up for the discovery call from you, right? Back up from that, they have to somehow find out that they could sign up for a discovery call with you. Back up from that, maybe it's they watched your video on social media where you told them about that, right? Back up from that, and it might be informative videos that let them know you even exist, and they go, oh, I like that person. That's kind of cool. So which step along that process, start with the end in mind. What are you selling? And back up every step of the way. What has to happen before that? And if every single point like that should trigger like, oh, here's the thing I could probably measure. How many people are landing on this page? How many people are filling out this form? Okay, what happens next? Well, it sends them an email. How many people are clicking on the link in the email? If you don't know how to measure that, we'd love to be able to help you with that kind of stuff. But think about it. Just think about it, and hopefully that'll move you guys all forward. What else we got?
Awesome. So I know Marie had her hand up, and I want to make sure that we're still answering her question. And then who else was it? Outside of Marie, it was
I saw a hand from Bruce as well.
Yeah, from Bruce. Yeah. So is Marie still here? Let's see here. I'd see her. It was Maria, Maria Torfield. She had her hand up. So Maria, if you're still here and have a question, you can unmute yourself and we'll answer it. If not, we'll go to Bruce. Going once.
Really quick question.
All right.
Um, you've created lots of specialty AIs which go
Yes.
into beautiful depth to generate all sorts of support for us in building processes. Is there an AI that knows about the internal workings of Pykthos itself?
Yeah, I would say it's the help widget itself
Yes.
right within. So we give you guys 24-hour support within that. You can either have a chat. It'll always start as a chat with a bot. And then if you write the word like I want a human, you're pissing me off, whatever. Sometimes bots just don't know how to answer the question. So always when you need a real person, just say, hey, I need a human. It'll get escalated. But that support chat bot starts as an AI and it knows the whole platform, knows everything. So it'll save you oodles of time a lot of the time where you're just like, hey, how do I send out an email again to a list of, all my people who filled out a certain form? And it'll go, oh, and it'll actually give you a really good answer.
Okay. That was my whole question.
All right.
That was
Cool. That
it.
was an easy one, Bruce.
Yeah.
Good to
Awesome.
see you in Toronto the other week too, by the way.
Yeah.
Who else
Alrighty.
got a question or a topic, or we can scan through the chat as well, because some people don't want to ask it on camera, which is totally understandable.
Yeah. I totally I'm seeing people asking, like, hey, I know you guys aren't trying to like sell, but like they want information about the
Yeah, I know.
mastermind.
It's
So
like don't sell, but please sell. It's like, okay, we're trying
yeah.
to keep a balance here, but I totally understand. Some people
Yeah.
have product related questions. We can
Yeah.
and service questions. We can absolutely answer them.
Nice. All right. So Maria, there you are. Hello. So you can unmute and then we'll get a cafe
I already
afterwards.
unmuted. Hi, it's nice to
Nice.
see you,
Hi.
Timothy and Chris and everybody else. So I'm actually have been now practicing for 1 year in Milford, Pennsylvania. It's a small town with 1,000 people. They have something called the Health House. And when I finished my education in 2024, I went to them. They just were opening up and I said, do you need a hypnotist? They said, yeah, you can start with us. But I have finished the pond there. There are 1,000 people in town. It's a very small town and the surroundings. So I would like now to expand to go online again because there are not enough people around here. And also financially, they have not so much money to pay for ongoing business.
I think that makes sense. What's
Mhm.
stopping you? I mean, first of all, just 100% agree. If you live, you said 1,000 people in the town.
Yeah, it's great. It's a beautiful little town. It's called
Yeah.
Milford, Pennsylvania. The next town over is Port Jervis. There are 8,000 people, but it's a working class, low working class.
Yeah.
Poor.
No, I totally hear you. Live in a town that has, as Mike Bowler knows, who's on here, I live in a town with about 10,000 people. It's getting to where I think if I wanted to run a hypnotherapy practice locally here, I could probably get enough clients most of the time. I don't want to do that, but that's 10,000 people. So I would absolutely say for sure it makes sense for you to go online. What are you struggling with? And Timothy, did you want to add any questions in on that?
Yeah, no, I want to hear where the conversation goes.
So I know how to do sessions online. That's how I actually started. I learned online. I started with my friends to do it for them for free online. And then it just so happened that the Health House has me in person and people like it. I like in person, especially nice to make a contact. You get to know the people. It's a different experience. But I have to go back online and I don't know how to make the switch. How do I advertise myself now online? Because I've been doing this cards. You can look at my website. I put it up. It's called The Chrysalis Mind, my website. And so I give out these cards. I print out cards. I just printed one out right now for the Christmas special that people can get hypnosis if they have anxiety for the Christmas holidays.
I'm just clicking on your link right now. I found it.
But I have to go somehow find out. I don't have actually an email list of lots of people, or how do I reach people?
Okay, do you mind? Is it okay if I screen share your website
Sure,
on this
absolutely.
call?
Yeah, I did it myself, so I try to
Okay.
cost efficient.
So sometimes it's fun to just share and then we can give you some general commentary.
Absolutely.
But
That would be great.
the idea though, if you're going to be online, you just need to make sure that you have a way for people to know that you exist, right? So that usually is going to come from online or local stuff too. So people who are local, maybe will tell other people they know if you ask them to, and
Mhm.
give them a simple email with a link that they can forward to all their friends. That's easy way to get started. You can have a brochure at the health house that you're
Yeah.
working at with a QR code that people can just like scan on
Mhm.
their phone that will get them to a website and maybe sign up, build an email list. You can use social media like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can run paid traffic once you know you're confident that you have something that's working. You can just buy eyeballs to offers. I wanted to show the website here, though, real quick, because there's a few things. So, the
Mhm.
first thing is it's very difficult to read the text. The way you have
Yeah.
white on white, that's a bad idea. You also
Mhm.
have essentially a non-functional link here. If you scroll your eyeballs down to the bottom right, you see it says chrysalismind.com/hashtag.
Yeah.
What that means is just linking to itself, so it doesn't do
Okay.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this little like yellow highlight, like the orange highlighty, it doesn't really look good generally. And I'm not meaning to pick on your website in
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
way
I
here.
love it. That's yeah. This is
Here's
my comment.
the general idea is if you're not okay, I'm going to stop the screen share because I don't think I need to show it off anymore. I just wanted to show that there's some issues there, right?
Hmm.
Now, most of us guys, okay, put your hand up if you identify as a brilliant web designer. I don't see any hands. Put your hand up if you absolutely identify as a horrible web designer. Okay, yeah, I'm going to put myself there. Timothy's decent at it. Like, neither of us are pro. Put your hand up if you feel if somebody gave me a template that looked pretty good, I could plug in my own words and pictures and like, okay, then at least it's functional, right? So I can paint by numbers. Yeah, I could do that. So really, you're left with if you're going to do a website or a funnel or anything online and you're not a designer, it's a bad idea to kind of start from scratch and try to do it all yourself. So you either want to just be involved in the process. We have AI tools that can help make this easier in terms of what to put on the site and stuff, but either just pay someone else to build it, and that requires a budget,
Hmm.
or use a template that already exists and do it, modify it yourself, or a hybrid of approach of both, which would be hire somebody to do the updates to either pick the template and update it, or you pick the template and have someone paid to update it. Because there are little things like Maria on your logo, even your logo. I'm not sharing the screen anymore, but it's like a nice logo, but with this weird square border around it. So a designer would go, oh, we don't want that. We want the logo as a PNG file with no background so that it nicely floats on top of the background and looks like it all blends in nice and cleanly. It shouldn't look like somebody cut a picture out of a magazine and sort of glued it to the website, which is the old school way of people who DIY their logos tend to do that. Timothy, any thoughts?
No, I think you hit on a lot of the things that I also saw on the landing page, right? I think ultimately for anybody that wants to go from working local to how do I go about hitting, more people outside of that, whether it's expanding out to another town or even expanding out to online. The very first thing is, um, show of hands, how many of you guys ever go on like Amazon or eBay or any of your favorite places to buy
eBay.
products and you never look at the reviews and you just randomly guess what products to buy? No
I
hands.
always read the reviews on
How many of you
Amazon
guys read the
because,
reviews?
yeah, I read the reviews.
Everybody
We all do.
does. So the best way for you to start looking like the expert that other people want to come to is have some place, even if it's one place, Google My Business or a Facebook page or Instagram or
Mm.
any of these platforms. If you have one platform that you can continuously get people to leave you reviews and you post testimonials up, you will start to become the expert. People will search you out. They will look for you. We're in a digital online era where you can find anybody and look at their stuff. You can look at timothyseptember.com. You can Google search me. You can find all my testimonials. You can find not just my testimonials about my personal practice, but also the products that I sell. And
Yeah.
I did that with intentionality. You should be posting up the nice stuff people say about you everywhere you can, whether it's your website, whether it's on your social page. Have them actually use the review section on like Google My Business or Facebook page, right? You want those people to be leaving you nice stuff because when you go to expand outside of your locality or outside of where you would typically do business, those people are, because you're not local to them, they can't just reach out and shake your hand. They're going to look you up first. All of us do this. It's a natural thing nowadays, right? So you have to make sure that you have testimonials that back up your claims. If you do that, most of the objections people have with wanting to work with you start to fade. And it's not you doing anything other than showing what other people say about you. So that's the very first thing I would do is start to, and so here's the tip. How do you do that? You can go on Facebook or go on, any of your social places, and any place anybody said anything nice about you, whether it's a comment on a post that you left, whether they left your testimonial like or a review directly on your page, anything like that, take a screenshot. Put that screenshot on your website.
Mm-hmm.
Take that screenshot, repost it up in your stories, post it up, any place else. Put it as the signature in your email. Any place that you can get other people talking good stuff about you, screenshot it, use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Also, on top of that, just those of you in the Pykthos platform, I know a lot of you here are already using the platform. If people leave you Google reviews, Facebook reviews, etc., they're going to be available inside of Pykthos in the reputation area, which means that you can make a little widget to put on your website or funnel page or something. So if people are saying, Terrence Schmidt, that guy's amazing, he helped me overcome this problem and that problem and made me $1 million, whatever they say, you can have little drag and drop widgets that you can put right on your funnel pages or website pages that show that off beautifully. And that makes your life easier instead of having to pay a designer every single time to go and make these fancy testimonial style widgets. So every good website builder should have a testimonial widget capability. Not all of them are going to be tied into the actual services like Google and Facebook and stuff. The Pykthos one is, which makes it really nice.
Cool.
Did that help you, Maria?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing with the logo is because I designed it myself, but I couldn't get the square out because the website building the site didn't allow me to do it. I used Ionos and WordPress, but it's a bit tricky to.
Okay, yeah. If it's on WordPress, it might be very difficult to figure it out. If you just need the background gone, drag it into Canva and use the magic background removal tool in Canva.
Oh yeah, I use Canva a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and then by the way, if you ever hear somebody say something like "use the background removal tool in Canva," and you go, "What is he talking about?" Go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, I heard somebody say use this tool. What does he mean by that? Walk me through it step by step." AI will help you with so many problems these days. It's a fantastic tool to use.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, the card I designed, I did it with AI.
Perfect.
They did the layout. I mean, they helped me with the layout and lettering, everything. Yeah, do this and this, and it was pretty quick.
Awesome.
So I love AI. I use it a lot. But thank you so much for your help. Yeah.
You're very welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Catherine, hello.
Hello. Do we have time for this?
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Okay, that's good. So it's a similar-ish question to the previous one, actually. So I have mainly local clients, as you probably know.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking to expand my online client base because I would like to niche in an area that isn't really suitable for where I live. And I want to kind of diversify anyway what I'm doing. So the niche I'm looking at is, I haven't nailed it down yet, but it's something around women who don't have children.
Gotcha.
Of which there are not many where I live, and kind of building a life beyond family life type thing. So I'm thinking about running it almost as a completely separate business, separate website, just whole other strategy. Does that sound like a good idea?
Well, yeah, I have we'd have to dig into it a bit more, which we can absolutely do. Like, you should just come to a Wednesday call too, and we can dive even more detail on this. I think, yes, it can make sense to do it as a different brand, but it could also make sense to just do it under your name, because your name is the brand right now. And that works really well. So you can add it to your homepage as an option. You can create a separate funnel that's maybe branded around that niche. So it could be like, if you were using your name in the brand or not, doesn't really matter, but your face, your name would still be featured in that. And I think that could make sense. I would just make sure that I'm creating content for that audience and putting it out there and giving them an appropriate link on whatever, like treat it as a new funnel. It's basically just like a brand new customer avatar. So who is that customer? You're going to go through all those, pick those modules that we trained you on for the growth system. Like you're going to define who's this new audience person. What is the objection that this woman is having that doesn't have children? What is the problem in her life? What does she want her life to look like at the other end of the working with you story? All that stuff that you would have done, let's say, for your current market, you just redo it because you now have a different audience that you're serving. It's sort of like opening up a second restaurant or having a second menu at the same restaurant, maybe metaphorically. So that's kind of what it feels like. It's, should this be a brand new restaurant or should I just have an alternate menu in the one I already run?
In terms of like social media platforms and stuff, because if I start posting about all this stuff, I
Hmm.
feel like it might alienate my local client base. Does that make sense? Because it's not relevant
Yeah.
to most of them.
Um,
So I don't know how to kind of do it social media
yeah.
wise.
What do you think, Timothy? I mean,
Well,
do a new channel or use the same channel? Yeah.
Well, the one thing that I suggest for people who maybe have niched down to one thing and are really good at it and then want to start offering other services is if you have testimonials that specifically talk about the other service or the outcome they got for the other services, only use those testimonials on that page. So in this case, Catherine, you could keep what you have now, and then maybe you just add a services thing in the nav and you do the what your page currently is and how you talk to your audience and what the messaging is. But then you have another page, just a
Hmm.
single page that's about this new niche you want to dive into. And on
Mhm.
that page, you would just start to load it up with testimonials of people talking about that specific thing that you work on and the outcome they got. And then I would just start to, in my own experience, if I was starting fresh, I would find a whole bunch of people in a focus group who all have a similar issue. And I would just put it out there, say, hey, I'm hosting a free Zoom call and it's for anybody going through XYZ problem.
Yeah.
And I would love to just sit and I want to pick your brain and talk. Then on that call, start to ask them questions about the problem, what they're looking to, get outside of the hypnosis sessions, what their outcomes are. And that is now starting to build out your messaging. So then you can,
Mhm.
in that focus group, ask people if they'd be willing to maybe do a paid session that's much smaller for a small outcome,
Hmm.
right? And then maybe it's just around like think of like Mike Mandel's four steps for weight loss. But you could do the same thing where maybe it's like okay for women or parents who don't have kids and it's something beyond that. Maybe there's beliefs that they have to shift, self-esteem issues that you have to go through. Like I would figure out what some of the like four categories are or three categories that most of these people talk about as their main pain points and do a session on just one of them. And then your private work is if you want to work on these other two, come and work with me directly. The whole reason why you do a low dollar group for helping them with the first problem is just so you can collect testimonials. You want to get some reps in so that people go, whoa, this stuff works. It's amazing. Cool. Can you leave me a testimonial? Now that that goes on that page, now you start to expand and your one-on-one work kind of sells itself. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's very,
You're
I
welcome.
hadn't thought about it from that perspective
While
at all.
while
Yeah.
Timothy was saying all that stuff, I was just thinking a bit more about your should you do separate social channels? And I like to keep things simple, and my suggestion would be in the beginning, don't. If you get big blowback, like it doesn't seem like they're different enough audiences to worry about separating them. And I want you to maintain that Catherine Tui brand, which I think is really important. And in the age of AI, this is kind of an important tie-in for a lot of you. How many of you have heard of SEO or search engine optimization over the years? Most of you, right? How many of you have heard of AEO? Maybe like, yeah, not so many, right? Terrence, Timothy, myself. AEO stands for answer engine optimization. So, how many of you have noticed you don't tend to go to Google so much to ask questions? You simply go to ChatGPT or your favorite LLM of the month, whatever it is. Most people, I think ChatGPT is kind of like the Kleenex of LLMs. Like, get a Kleenex. You don't say get a tissue necessarily, right? We use ChatGPT. So you want to build your brand around your own name because interestingly, I learned this from one of my friends, Qasim Aslam. The he's a guru in this space. Answer engines, i.e., AI tools, they they think people rather than companies so much. They are much more likely to give answers about people that do certain things or speak to certain things or that are gurus in certain spaces. So if you use your own name in your social media channels, coming back to the question, then I think it makes a lot of sense to just speak to the childless women out there who you want to work with rather, I don't know if that's what you call them or not, if that sounds weird, but women who don't have children, that seems like a logical thing to do under your own existing brand, your own existing Catherine Tui brand. Um, it would be a different story. Let's say if you were an author of children's books and then you started saying, I want to produce adult novels. You know what I mean, right? That would not be a good idea, right? Um, that would not fit very well, or similarly, if you were to sell a fizzy pop like Coca-Cola, and then get into the breakfast cereal business. This is totally different. I'm not part of hypnosis, but you get the idea, right? You wouldn't want to brand a breakfast cereal as Coca-Cola cereal. Every mother in the world would be like, that's junk. I'm not buying that. You want it to sound healthy. So when the niches are totally different, then I think, yeah, maybe you want to separate them out. But in this case, you work with a lot of kids who have moms or whatever, but moms don't assume that every other woman out there also has kids. They're not going to be offended if you talk about other tips for women in general, specifically women who don't have children. I don't think it would be a problem. That's just my gut feel.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Somebody asked in the chat how long we're going to go. Probably about another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Feels like an hour's too short, but an hour and a half is sort of just right.
Yeah.
So what else do you guys got? I'm looking through the chat to see what's coming up.
Let's see here. Jackie did ask, I'm a newbie and this is my first call. Just completed my certification. I feel like the information's amazing, but over my head and above my immediate needs. Do you guys have something that helps newbies get started from the ground level?
Yeah, well, that video that I put up in the chat, and maybe I can drop the link again, that whole customer value journey, understanding how your people go from being strangers into buyers, that's fundamental. That is like newbie level. But the funny thing is, it's newbie level, but it's also advanced level because I guarantee you most of the people who have been doing this 20 years and they successfully get clients regularly have not done that work. And I feel like it's a map across to at the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy or at the Architecture of Hypnosis class. We'll teach to brand new people, right? And they will learn hypnosis from the ground up. And we will also teach to people who have been doing hypnosis through a script reading school or something that focused specifically on, let's say, age regression as the only tool you ever use, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they'll learn like a foundational approach. So I think what we're bringing to the table in the mastermind is foundational. What do you need to know at the absolute base? What are the basic building blocks of a business and how you promote it? And that's what we focus on. So if it sounds like it's over your head only because maybe we're answering a question to someone's specific question, we'd have to go deeper to take it down to the basics, but the basics are absolutely there. They need to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, and for anybody that's just wondering how do I even go about getting started? Like maybe websites, like all this stuff just sounds overwhelming. The easiest thing that I could say is start one thing at a time and just do it like Lego blocks, right? So if you don't have a website, you don't have anything, that's fine. When I first started way back in like 2014, 2015, something like that, I didn't either. I had nothing. Stuff like the Pykthos platform didn't even exist. I wish it did. So I had to do what, the duct tape method. I had to build a website on a free thing and then, oh, this email thing over here. And I had to figure out how to get them to connect and all this stuff, right? None of the tools, the way that they're integrated now existed. So how I got started was one, just have one place where customers can contact you. So if you don't have an email address yet, buy a business email address. You can go to Google Workspace or you can go to, like GoDaddy offers an integration with Microsoft 365. You could do something like that. Just get an email, right? If you don't have an email, but you have a social media account, cool. Your DMs, your inbox, that now becomes your email for now, right? Just give people one spot to contact you and then start conversations. It always, always, always boils down to the more conversations you have with people, the more clients you get. I cannot tell you how many times people think, well, I'm a hypnotist. They should just come to me and find me. Well,
Yeah.
okay, sure. When your car breaks down, you just say, my car's broken down. Mechanics should just come find me. No, no. When people have a problem, they immediately go and try to find people fast. Like that's why when Chris and I first got into the platform, we told our customers, like our mastermind people right up front, you should turn on the tech immediate text back. But then they introduced A2P, and so that doesn't really work now, only because of the way that the laws and everything changed. But it still goes down to the same principle. Just have one place people can contact you, right? Once you have that and you start to get people showing up, even just to discovery calls and showing up, maybe starting to get low dollar paid clients, that's when you can start saying, I would love testimonials. And then what's the next step from there? It's, well, I need a place to put them. So from there, you can start building up a website or
Hmm.
a social presence or whatnot. You have to get cash first, though. Revenue or cash flow, right? That is the lifeblood of your business. If you're not making any money, having a website with a million pages won't give you more money. It'll be more work and more overwhelm, and you'll still feel like you're not doing it right. So start customers first. More
Yeah.
conversations, have one spot that they can talk with you. If you do that, just those things, and you do it consistently for months at a time, because it will take months, if you do that, I promise you, you'll start to get people who show up and buy from you. And
Hmm.
that's where everything changes.
Is there anybody here who is still using a free email address as their business email? What I mean by that is, let's say it's a Yahoo or a Hotmail or a Gmail, but it's branded like, Ohio Hypnosis or Cleveland Massage Therapy at gmail.com, like a free. Is there anyone willing to put their hand up and say, I'm using a free? Okay. Yeah, it's a very good idea to not do that anymore because you won't be able to build an email list. You can mail people, like you can individually, Heather, you could send me an email, you could send Jim an email, no problem. But you can't broadcast using broadcast tools with free emails in this day and age. I think that came into play. Was it early 2024, Timothy? I'm seeming to remember it was about a year ago or so. Yeah, like all the MailChimps and all those platforms that people have heard of, and Pykthos is no different in terms of these same rules apply. You cannot broadcast from free addresses anymore, which means if you want to have a newsletter that you send out to your client base, you can't do that through third-party tools with a free email account. And the reason for that is simply that the email gods have gotten together and said, we want to prevent spam as much as possible. And that makes sense, right? It's good for all of us. It's really easy to take a free email address and go sign up for, let's say, a trial MailChimp account and then just go spam people with it until they shut you down and then just rinse and repeat, kind of like the people who sign up for a credit card, spend the money, and then get another credit card to pay off that one and so on and so forth. Like that's bad stuff you don't want happening. So they say, well, here's the deal. We just won't treat email that comes from a free address that's sent through a third party tool, a bulk broadcast tool, as legit. We'll treat it all as spam. It's all garbage. So basically, these tools generally will just stop you from spending your money. Like, why would MailChimp or Pykthos, etc., say, oh, sure, we'll send these emails for you, even though we know they're just going to go to spam? So the platforms won't even let you do that anymore. They protect you from wasting your time and money. So if you get a business email address, which you can do at Google Workspace, or that's the one we recommend. Microsoft 365 will sell you domains and email service. Zoho email, I think, is Zoho's one, right, as well, that people are using. We use Google Workspace. Just it's like, what did we set this up just with somebody last week, Timothy, on this call, and
Yep.
it took, I don't know, 15 minutes, not even, and it was
Yeah.
$5 a month, I think, $4.95 for the starter plan at Google.
Yep, 495. Make sure that if you go to workspace.google.com, do not click on start here. If you do that, they will
Oh yeah,
immediately upgrade you to like the media plan, like the middle plan, and you don't need that. It comes with a
that's a
whole
great
bunch
money
of
saving
stuff.
tip.
So instead, at the top of the nav bar, you'll see one that says pricing. If you click that first, it'll take you to a page that shows the 495 offer. I use that. Just that one immediately, boom, because $5 for, a month, and it gives you like access to Gemini, which is Google's AI. It gives you
Here,
access to like 30 gigs of Google Drive space, which is way more than enough. Yeah, there you
I
go.
pulled it up in a private browser, so I'm not logged in, so that I get to see it like a first-time person. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say agree. Okay,
So you
don't say
notice
get
though,
started.
Chris. No. Notice at the top.
Right.
You actually have UTM source. So you're on a sales page. You're not on just the main website.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so just click on, yeah, get rid of all
Just get
that
rid of
stuff.
this. Hold
Yeah.
on. Get rid of all that stuff.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Now look at the pricing. See the page difference? Now click pricing
Yeah.
at the top in the
Oh,
nav.
so instead of get started, which will lead me to the standard plan, I
Right.
want to get to the starter plan. So I click on plans and pricing. This is the one they're going to try to sell you if you hit get started. You can
Yes.
see the difference. Oh, $9.20 Canadian. I'm pretty sure when we saw this in the States, it was 4.95 US.
Well, yeah, because I'm the one that shared the screen and I'm in the US.
Okay, yeah, so we're getting hosed here. Canada's just getting hosed by
And
Google and
that.
that, right? Anyway, $9.20, but you can see the difference in price. And this plan in the United States is like $5, and it does give you
Yep.
everything you need, including Gemini, which is sort of like ChatGPT, but in many ways better. It's a very, very good way to start getting business emails. The reason I was bringing this up, I'll stop the screen share, is because email is misunderstood in terms of how powerful it is, guys, to your business. How many of you get the open mic Sunday newsletters from Mike Mandel Hypnosis? A bunch of you. How many of you would actually say, like, maybe let me know in the chat? I read that because yes, there is some promo in it, right? But it's generally content. It's written by Mike. It's useful. There's not enough people doing that. In the hypnosis space, I see almost nobody doing this. Sending out regular updates, just thoughts. What have I been reading? What am I learning? You're already spending time learning about stuff in your daily life. You're listening to podcasts, you're taking training, you're reading books, you're reading stories, you're working with clients. That's first party information. You can take valuable stuff and then just send it to your client list in a weekly newsletter type of format where they will appreciate reading it. And you just have a simple PS. Oh, by the way, if you would like to work together, I've opened up some extra spots in my calendar this month. Here's the link. And you send that to wherever your calendar booking funnel is. We have that in Pykthos, but you can use Calendly or whatever else you want to use too. Guys, start taking email as a serious asset in your business. Trust me on that.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Even if you're brand new and you have nothing, build up an email list slowly but surely and just start adding value to people's lives.
Yeah. And real quick, I know that we said that we weren't going to turn this into a sales call. I've been getting slammed with messages though. So inside the chat, for all of you who are like, yo, I'm already sold, I'm in. There's a link. It's pykthos.com/mastermind. That will give you to the sales page. You just find where the button is to sign up. That's going to be the best way to sign up with us.
Awesome.
All right. Liesel, got your hand up.
I just wanted to say I was one of those idiots who went into the workspace and actually did and didn't know about the business data. But you can actually change it.
Yeah.
So if
Yes,
you
you
go into
can
some,
after.
yeah,
That's
you
right. Yeah.
can actually do it and
Thank you for
downgrade
that.
it.
You're
So
totally
you
right.
can. It's a bit of a mission because they hide it.
Yeah.
But if you
Exactly.
just if you chat GPT it and you just things that I eventually found that I now could change it. But they're
Yeah.
sneaky. They're like really sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's why
forgive
I'm like,
them
I'm just going to
because
do it up front.
I forgive them
Yeah.
because at least they are like the standard plan is obviously better than the starter plan. You get like oodles of cloud storage and stuff, and at least you can change it. And they're not lying to you; they're just not making it easy to get on the cheapest plan. So,
Yeah.
but because it's
Well,
such a damn good tool, I will
I
not
mean,
hold it
yeah,
against them.
yes and no. Because what's interesting about it is the way they've got it set up is if you just click get started now, you get through the entire setup process. You still don't know what plan you're on.
Yeah,
And so you have to wait your 14 days and then they charge you. And then
yeah,
it's now 2 weeks in and you're like, why did I get charged so much? You have to like find the billing, go into where the and then
yeah.
look and that's what I did. And I was like, why am I getting charged like $20? That's not what I wanted. So yeah.
So there we go. We teach you how to save an immediate
Same.
$5 a month or so, or
Boom.
10 in Canada, on Google Workspace. And Google does not pay us. We just like their tool a lot.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
Thanks
Well,
for
we've
that.
got 7 minutes left. Are there any
Yeah,
final
who else is
pressing?
like who's just sort of got a basic question around where you're at and where you want to be? What's in your way?
Yeah.
Could be anything. How do you
Yeah.
start a
Or should we
newsletter?
just talk about what
Yeah.
coffee we're all drinking this morning?
Yeah.
All right.
Tanya
Yeah.
got something. Barbara's got something. Let's go to Tanya next.
All right.
Just
You
unmute
unmute
yourself there, Tanya. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I have a very basic question. I have a very long name. So when using yourself as, a sole proprietor, they say
Yeah.
it's easy to use your name. I have a very long name. As you can see, that's only half of it. My full name is De La Hoz-Luckett.
Okay. I would probably not brand then after the whole name. That would be my suggestion. You can still use your whole name on the website itself, but you might come up with like a cute compressed version that you can buy the domain name or something like that.
Yeah, like when I was playing around emails and looking to purchase an email, I'm like, what do I do here? Hypnotherapy onto itself is really long. So how do you get around that as well? So they know what you're doing, but it's your name.
Well, Timothy, you have any thoughts on that? Because I'm just opening the convo here that you don't necessarily have to use the word hypnosis or hypnotherapy in your domain at all. It really depends on how you want to approach it. How are people going to find out about you? If they're finding out about you through, let's say, social media or for advertising or whatever, then they're going to know based on just the message you're sending out to that audience. And if that's not in your domain, I don't think it's going to hurt you. But old school, like I remember when Jason Lynette would talk about starting virginiahypnosis.com, it would be because he was doing hypnosis for people in Virginia. So it was like an obvious title to use.
Yeah.
I don't think search engine optimization is necessarily super important these days anymore. And you can make up for it for something called schema markup on your website anyway for answer engines to know that you do hypnotherapy and it wants to know your name first. That's my thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I would find a nice balance, Tanya, because I don't have hypnosis or hypnotherapy on any of my domains. But I made sure that on my social channels and anywhere else that I was talking about what I was doing, that they knew to associate my name with the thing that I was doing. So if they went to timothyseptember.com, they would anticipate when they show up, it says timothyseptember.com, hypnotherapy or whatever, right? So I would do what is easiest for the customer. So instead of being like, I have to make sure that my whole name's in the email address, you don't. You could just have like just Tanya at, and then your, location hypnosis.com or whatever you decide to make as your business brand.
Yeah, like
Right.
I just punched in, for example, hypnosiswithtanya.com, spelled with a J instead of a Y because it's less common. And guess what? There's no such website. So you could probably buy that if you wanted to have that or any version, whether it said hypnosis in it or not. But tanyad.com, some version of that, something simple, or if you name the method that you use, you can always brand your domain after that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Barbara, and then Joy, and then Chuck.
Hi, thank you.
Hello.
This is amazing. I am brand new, baby, nowhere.
Okay.
And I'm excited about everything I've learned and, been in the academy and practice rooms and whatever. I love you guys. So I have lists and my lists have babies because there's so many pieces to getting moving with the business. And I have people who've been mentoring and helping me. And I'm just wondering if there's some kind of a master list sort of in order. I know I could skip around a bit, but it was things like little things. Well, they're big things, but little things like I need clinical insurance and I need show insurance. Makes perfect sense to me.
Mhm.
But there are so many pieces to getting your things coordinated and attach it to the website and how to learn how to do videos and how to learn how to do this. And there's some basic business steps, some of which you outline, like the whole LLC process, because I was told it wasn't necessary to get an LLC, but I'm hearing there's a lot of benefits to it. So this is, like I said, this is amazing. I've taken tons of notes, but is there some place I can find or put together an organized list of Barbara needs to do this?
It's kind of a how long is a piece of string question in a way, because it really depends on what your outcome is and where you're at now. If it was just generic, how does someone start from scratch in terms of their online presence or something like that, then yes, there's checklists for that kind of stuff that would involve things like pick your domain, get a business email address, make sure you have a place to send people, whether it be a full-fledged website or just a basic landing page that has like book a call with me here. Make sure that you have a way to collect money from people. So that would be usually something like the
Right.
simplest way is to get a Stripe account, right? So that way you can take credit card payments. And then usually you don't want to, you can use Stripe just naked on its own. I say that just, it's what we call burgers without a bun. I call them naked burgers. So yeah, like a Stripe account just naked without any fancy wrapper around, like make an order form that looks all pretty. You can send people invoices and they can pay them on Stripe, no problem. You can do all of that. You don't need any fancy software. So that's sort of it. Like if you want to just get the ball rolling from a digital perspective, you need an email address to communicate with people. You need a website or page or funnel or whatever level of complexity you want so people can interact with you, fill out a form, get to know you, be invited to a call with you, whatever the sales process is. But the specifics of the checklist will really depend on what your customer journey looks like. So my first checklist would always be that same video I dropped. Maybe we can drop the link again. Go through the customer value journey, understand what the process is from stranger to buyer, map it out, and that will become your checklist because you have to build it backwards. What are we selling? What is the number one thing we're selling? Let's say, Barbara, it's a stage hypnosis show in this case. You mentioned performance insurance.
Oh,
I assume you're talking
oh,
about, yeah,
yeah,
hypnosis
yeah.
entertainment. So let's
Oh,
say you're an entertainment hypnotist. Okay, I want to get booked in gigs for, let's say, corporate events or high schools or universities, whatever the case may be. That's the thing you want to sell. So you have to work your way backwards in terms of what has to happen immediately before someone buys. Okay, they've got to maybe watch a promo reel and have a call with me. What has to happen before that? They have to know that they can watch that promo reel. So I have to promote it somehow. So I have to have the promo reel online. What has to happen before that? They have to find out that I exist and be informed of that link to go see it. Whatever it's there. You basically work your way backwards, and that becomes your checklist. Every single thing. It's what happens before that, what happens before that. And start with what you're selling and work your way backwards to people don't even know you exist.
so same thing with the clinical aspect of it.
Yes.
And the companion piece to that is, can I market both the session business and the performance business on one website? I've seen people do it, not a lot, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. If what I would probably do in that case is have like a Barbara Kessler website that introduces the two things that you do, let's say hypnotherapy and entertainment hypnosis. And then I would probably have two different websites. If they were two substantial businesses, like I would have a hypnotherapy with Barbara or something, and then entertainment hypnosis website. Different. I would probably treat them as different brands because you have totally different audiences coming into each. But you could still do the same advice we gave to Catherine. You could do it on one website, no problem. And I've seen plenty of people do that simply because it's not offensive to anyone or weird to be like, oh, well, I'm a hypnotist. Guess what? I can help you or I can entertain you. And no one's going to look at one and go, I mean, some people who are in the hypnotherapy space get really annoyed that people use hypnosis for entertainment. God forbid we should entertain people, right? But most of the world is going to be like, yeah, that's totally normal. I understand that there's entertainment hypnosis and it's used to help people quit smoking, lose weight, get rid of bad habits, all that stuff. What do you think, Timothy?
and
Yeah.
we always in performance we always teach what hypnosis is and isn't, what the benefits are. We always talk
Yeah,
about how it's helping people, so it becomes a clinical pitch as well whenever we do
exactly.
performance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree 100% with Chris here, Barbara. Just start with one thing and just get that one thing done and then move on to the next thing, right?
Hmm.
It really is like a Lego block approach because most people think they have to do it now, and that's where the overwhelm starts. But if you can just focus on one thing now rather than the whole thing,
Hmm.
then one thing at a time, you do that for 30 days. That's now 30 things you've got done. You now move that to a year, that's 365 things you've got done. which puts you much farther ahead than the person still stuck a year in the past saying, "Oh, I have too much to do. I'm now overwhelmed and don't do anything." So just
Yeah,
do one thing. And if you
that's
can do
important.
that, you'll get farther ahead.
Yeah, one of the major frameworks we teach in Pykthos in the mastermind is to only have for a 90-day cycle max 2, 3 things that you're working on that are like big needle movers in your business because we all get the shiny object syndrome and we start working on all these different things. But when we give ourselves a 90-day window to work on just these 2 or 3 specific projects, oh man, life gets so much better. Because now you have immediate permission for that full quarter to just go, yep, not right now.
Nice. Thank you.
You're
You're very
welcome,
welcome.
Barbara. All right. And then we did have Joy, but she said she has to run, and she did ask for feedback on her website. But she had to run. So hopefully
Okay.
we can catch up with her next
Yeah, we
time.
can take a look at it and send Joy a message after. I'm just pulling up the URL so I have it.
Yeah.
Lots of
All
text.
right.
Okay.
All right, Chuck.
Chuck, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up here.
That's it. Be the last dude on the dang on the show today. So
Get
I'm
it.
okay. I'm okay with getting the heck out of Dodge type stuff. So what we talked about a little earlier with Timothy was in all of my stuff in my geographic location on the planet. I'm a big fish in the small pond. So I didn't need advertising. I used advertising. All of this was word of mouth. Hey, Chuck can do that. Blah blah blah. I do have a library of nothing but photos of me with different people at the range. I mean, I've got several sets of people. I have a set of 80-year-old women who come in who I affectionately call grannies with guns, and they gave themselves that name.
I
There's
love
another
it.
group of people called widows with weapons, and they gave themselves that name. And then I have the little kittens with claws. So where I'm not getting per se the testimonials. I do have pictures of me with all these people, and they're smiling from ear to ear, having a good time. Or I got videos of them shooting. Now, how to transfer that into the testimonials page is I put that on my other website. So although they're not seeing or they're not saying anything, the visual effect of that is just phenomenal because
Mhm.
nobody's frowning in
Yeah.
any of those pictures.
I think that
Yep.
you could probably create the persona of, Chuck's the guy who helps anyone just learn this skill. So if you're intimidated, it's, 80-year-old grannies doing this or it's kids doing this or whatever, anyone can learn and have a good time and,
Yep.
with safety and
Oh,
ecology and all that stuff in mind.
it's literally 8 to 80, blind, crippled, or crazy, and I have taught one of
Yeah.
everyone to
Yep.
to do what they wanted to do. And
Yep.
breakthroughs in group time type stuff. I just never optimized or put together that yeah, you need to write me a testimonial type stuff. It
Oh
just
yeah,
kind of
just
spoke for
ask.
itself.
Dude, Timothy taught me this best. Just freaking ask them.
Just ask.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I don't know how many of you guys ever actually reach out to clients, 3, 6 months, a year after you worked with them. You can get a second testimonial. If you worked with them and then a couple weeks later they leave you a great testimonial saying, "Hey, this was awesome," check back up with them because
Hmm.
that's another testimonial and it's now proof of concept. Look, I helped this person. They said 2 weeks later that it was great. Now look how much their life has changed in just X amount of sessions. That becomes your unique selling proposition. In
Hmm.
your case, Chuck, one thing that I loved is it seems like you've already got an inroad into creating almost like these packages, but for very specific audiences.
I was just thinking the same
Yeah.
thing. And you could
So
hijack this into hypnosis, by the
hijack
way,
it.
guys. Let's say you're a hypnosis, anything, grannies with guns, or you're a fitness person, grannies with guns, right?
Oh
There
God.
you go.
Yeah. But so what I'm thinking, Chuck, is like, for example, if you've always had word of mouth and you're running your individual training classes or whatnot, but it's I need these people here, there's nothing stopping you from saying, hey, here's a picture of me with a bunch of people that are probably the same demographic as you are. I run this thing called Grannies with Guns. It's an online session, and then we actually go out to the range. Here's how you sign up. And then here's another workshop for, the widows with whatever, or,
Weapons.
kittens with claws, right? So suddenly now these become your workshops and you're talking directly to the people in the image. And all you'd have
Right.
to do is just change the image out, have them sign up still the same way. And now you have those demographic of people in the image that you're sharing, but those are the people that show up for the workshop. And you already have proof of concept because it's you surrounded by a bunch of these people smiling.
Right. Now, doing that via the Pykthos thing, there's a part of that that says testimonials. In getting that to email it from Pykthos to those people, is that going to have them write me back and say, yeah, here's my testimonial, and then I cut and paste or copy and paste that and put it on socials?
I think it's even better than that, because I think if you invite them to leave you a review, the email will just link to the review platform like Google or wherever, and it'll automatically be there. So you don't have to do a bunch of work copying and pasting, because that would just be no fun.
Okay. Outstanding.
I'm pretty sure
All right,
I'm
boys.
right about that, Timothy.
All right. What's that?
I said I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I'll just say yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we're whittling it down here. Yeah, we still got a lot of people left online, but it is 12:40 now, so we've gone a little over, but I think this was super fun.
Yeah, it was.
And
great again, I'm gonna put in the chat just for everybody here. I'm not sure where you're at in your business, in your journey. We would love to help you. I know that there's a bunch of people out there, a bunch of what we'd call our competitors. But if we're being honest, our industry is small enough that we all kind of know each other. We all laugh and joke at Hypno Thoughts and stuff. So whether you're getting help somewhere else, or we would love it when you join us to be the ones to help you.
Yeah.
This is the best time. Yeah, this is the best time to buy, only because obviously like all the holiday sales and everything are over. But if you're wanting to get started with your business, now is the best time, because we don't want to be talking to you in a year wondering when you're going to still start.
Yeah, just exactly. to everything Timothy said, and just don't do this on your own. It is annoying to try to learn everything on your own. Connect with some group somewhere that you can work with and make better, faster progress, because learning on your own is the slowest way to do it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
All right. Thank you guys. That was amazing.
This was so wonderful. Thank you guys so much for everything. Let's end this in our usual way. If you haven't ever been introduced to this, today is the day. Chris.
If you know, you know, and if you don't know, you're about to know. So everyone on mute, and here we go. Thanks once again, and
good night.
Good night.
Good night.